And welcome back to the Financially Simple Experience. Today we're going to discuss 7 reasons why your ideal client will prevent your 8-figure exit. We're still talking about how financial advisors can exit their business with an 8-figure walk-away money. It's possible, friends. And just like always, look, if you're not a financial advisor, take the principles we're talking about and apply it to your business. They are universal. It can drive your business to the success that you desire. But nonetheless, financial advisors, we've heard this before. Hey, find your ideal client. We've heard it from conferences. We've read it through books. You've heard it on the podcast here. Find your ideal client and stick to it. Perhaps you've gone through the exercise of determining who your ideal client is, but you're still not reaching your goals. Perhaps you've settled on a niche. Let's take it a step further. I want an ideal client in this niche, but you're not seeing the growth that you projected in your strategic plan. Let's go a step further. Just maybe, you've identified your ideal client in the niche and you're getting a ton of new leads, but you're just not happy. It's like, dude, this is painful. There are 7 reasons why your ideal client will prevent your 8-figure exit. Let's dissect this a little bit deeper. First, let's define our terms. What is the ideal client? According to FJ Solutions, which is a digital marketing agency, they said, and I quote, "An ideal client is someone who finds the perfect solution to their problems or needs in the services or products that our company provides. The ideal client will be loyal to our company, frequently uses or buys our products or services, and is likely to recommend us to their friends and colleagues." That's the ideal client. We want somebody that wants what we have to offer and is willing to share our information with their friends and colleagues. Look, the ideal client is not necessarily your favorite client to work with. I just want you to know that. Now, I firmly believe you got to like who you work with. You shouldn't go home at the end of the day drained and hating life. So I'm going to modify FJ Solutions marketing agency's definition a little bit further. I'm going to take it a step further. And I'm going to tell you that your ideal client, this is Justin, your ideal client is one who provides the maximum value and profitability for your company while affording you the joy to persevere to your destination. That's the ideal client. We have to be fulfilled in what we do. We have to want to get up and fight this battle to an 8-figure exit. If coming to work and dealing with our customers and our clients just leave us drained and unfulfilled, then we're not going to ever reach our destination. Or if we do, we're not going to be very happy. So how do we define our ideal client? Well, we can start with the academic side. We can determine our client's lifetime value. We discussed this in past podcasts. There's a calculation you can use called frequency times lifetime times gross profit or margin, and it equals your customer lifetime value. That's one methodology you could use. You could look at your client acquisition cost. It's another methodology you can use. A calculation for that is your sales dollars plus your marketing dollars divided by the total number of new clients or customer acquisition cost. You could determine your customer lifetime value over your customer acquisition cost to determine the profitability of the client. We've looked at that calculation in times past. It is possible, as we've experienced on previous episodes, that you can determine through rationale, through dollars and cents, through academia, exactly who your ideal client should be. Once we identify our ideal client through the metrics, they're pretty simple to do, we need to define our target market. Investopedia defines a target market as, and I quote, "a group of people that have been identified as the most likely potential customers for a product or service because of their shared characteristics such as age, income, and lifestyle." That's a target market. So you may say, look, I have an ideal client of anybody that has $1 million. Friends, that's not an ideal client. You may say, friends, I have an ideal client of anybody who likes to hunt or fish. That's not an ideal client. So let's look at the reasons why your ideal client will prevent you from the 8-figure exit. Number 1, your target client is not identified well enough. You've used broad terms. You said, hey, anybody has $1 million. That's the ideal client. Friends, it's so much more than that. If I said anybody likes to hunt or fish or garden, man, there's a ton of people in the United States, around the world, that fit that category. We as business owners need to make sure that our business values and the customer values align. We need to make sure that our demographics align with the demographics of our customers. Our psychographics align with the psychographics of our customers. Our hobbies, our jobs, our families are in alignment. You've heard me say this before. I like working with dentists. I like dentists. I have coached many, many financial advisors through the years. I like the way financial advisors think. I am not very good at working with engineers and medical doctors. That's just, they don't align typically with my same values, especially not with my psychographics. I can't deal with that particular segment. So that is not an ideal customer for me. But you put a business owner who likes to hunt or fish, who's 30s to 50 years of age, who's aspiring to build a business that's like a rock star, best in class business and wants to build extreme wealth and is coachable. Oh yeah. I'm having fun there. See, it's so detailed. The good news is that financial advisors are becoming more focused on marketing toward their ideal clients. Recently, in a 2022 study by Smart Assets, of their 272 advisors on their platform, 63.09% of the financial advisors said they used the lead generation platform for specific targeted clients. They've gotten really niched in who their client is going to be. We're starting to see this now. 45% of financial advisors are starting to use social media more targetedly. We're starting to use the filters to reach right into who our potential clients are. On the other hand, 45% of advisor surveys said that they're done cold calling. We're not doing anymore. We're not just picking up the phone and saying, hey, if you can fog them here, we're going to work with you. So we're starting to see some movement toward this ideal client. But unless you're super specific on who this ideal client is, and if you're just trying to market to anybody and everybody, you're not going to win. So who is your ideal client specifically? Do you know where they shop? Do you know how they think? Do you know their pain points? Do you have a name? I had Frazzled Frank. Frazzled Frank was my ideal client. I could tell you everything about Frazzled Frank. I could identify Frazzled Frank walking through a grocery store and say, that's my client right there. Can you do that with your ideal client? If not, then you're more than likely going to miss your 8-figure exit because anybody's not going to work. There's a second point. The geographical locations of clients could be problematic. Even in a virtual world that we live in, face-to-face interaction is still valuable. Face-to-face interaction is still valuable. I've been doing this a long time, friends. I've been in the business for almost 30 years, a business owner for almost 30 years now. It's hard to believe I can even say that. A financial advisor for almost 20 years. Over the last few years, we've seen through COVID, this more virtual meeting come about. And it has its strengths and it has its weaknesses. So from a strength standpoint, I'm working with clients now nationally. From a weakness standpoint, there's not as much stickability to the internet, the national clients. Redtail, which is a CRM company for the financial industry, conducted a survey in 2019 with 3,200 wealth management professionals. And they discovered that 76% of the clients they met in person generated more referrals. They generated more engagement. 76%. So the geographical location of our clients could be problematic. So whenever I looked at my business here in East Tennessee, I had clients from South Florida to northern West Virginia and out in the western states. What I discovered is my ideal clients, I like to see them once or twice a year face-to-face. And I still do, once or twice a year face-to-face. They fit my ideal client in terms of a persona that I knew exactly who they were, the business owners, etc. But I wanted to get face-to-face with them once or twice a year. As you're scaling your company, if you have clients all across our land, all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast, north to the South, you may find a position where you're not able to generate the most engagement from that scatterboard approach. You might need to concentrate down to a greater sphere. You might have to say, look, if you're outside a 500-mile radius of my location, I just can't work with you. Or if you're in a major metropolitan area, if you're outside of a 10-mile radius of my location, I can't work with you. twice a year, I still drive to West Virginia because I have a very good group of clients that I deeply care for. I deeply love. They're my ideal clients. I still, to this day, drive and meet them twice a year, during turkey season and during deer season. We all like to hunt, and we like to sit around a campfire and just talk and just be buds. And I've watched them over more than a decade reach their goals. Many of them have reached their goals. Many of them are still just so close to achieving their goals. So geography could be a problem for you if you're not. So I want to challenge you with that. Another thing could be is that your market size could be shrinking. Your ideal client could be in a segment that just doesn't have that long of a runway. The age of your client. If you're trying to target individuals in later years of life, your demographic could be shrinking. According to a 2022 Fidelity benchmark study, 219 RIA firms who fall between $250 million to $5 billion in assets under management, about 3/4 of their advisory clients were over the age of 50. Now, I don't think 50 is old. The older I get, the younger people feel a little bit older than me. If you don't build your ideal client in alignment with your time frame, you could be building a naturally declining business due to distribution from accounts. Let me explain that. Let's say that you're trying to figure out how to have an 8-figure exit in the next 10 years, and your average client base today is 60 years of age. More than likely, over the next 10 years, those individuals in their early 60s will begin starting distributions from their investment accounts, the very source of your revenue, which means that your revenue will be automatically in decline at the time that you're trying to exit your business. If you have net new assets that are declining every year versus net new assets which are increasing every year, you could harm yourself on the 8-figure exit. That's just pure business 101, friends. So your market size could be shrinking. Let's think about that. The fourth thing is you may have misalignment between your ideal client and your company culture. And what that does is it leads to a high attrition rate. Years ago, unapologetically, I sent out Christmas cards. I still believe, I'm a little country, I still believe you send out Christmas cards at Christmas time. And there was a certain group of clients that just didn't have that same viewpoint. They were highly offended, and I certainly wasn't trying to offend anybody. But my company culture, my culture is that at Christmas time, you say Merry Christmas. I'm wishing you a Merry Christmas. I was raised that way, unapologetically, by the way. And if you have different beliefs, God bless you. I'll honor your beliefs, but my belief is at Christmas time, you send out Christmas cards. And I remember 2 or 3 clients got in a tizzy about, how dare you wish me Merry Christmas? As such, we spoke, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for wishing somebody Merry Christmas. That's who I am. Well, my company culture, who I was, created an attrition, created 3 clients to leave. Now, that's okay. Have you looked at your attrition rate? Have you seen how many clients are leaving out the back door? The number is about 97%. We should only have about 3% attrition rate within our company. And where I get that information from is the 2022 RA benchmark study by Charles Schwab, which says that firms that have about $25 million or more in assets under management have about a 97% 5-year average retention rate. So they're retaining about 97% of their clients over a 5-year period. That means if you have attrition, the opposite of retention, of greater than 3%, you're a little off based on the numbers. It could be that your culture of your company is not aligned with your ideal client. If your attrition rate is high, it's going to cause your value to be diminished, which could cause you to lose your 8-figure exit. Another issue is you are not talking to your client soon enough. Maybe, just maybe, your ideal client is somebody in their 60s, early 60s. Maybe that's your plan. Great. I'm happy for you. In fact, I believe that every client needs help. Every age group needs help. Every demographic you can throw at it needs help. And so we are here to try to help them with their particular needs. Let's just say your ideal client is in the early 60s. If you're trying to market to them in their early 60s to gain their confidence, then you're talking to the prospect too late. You should be talking to that prospect throughout their 50s, letting them know who you are. Your marketing plan is more of a marathon versus a sprint. So many times I watch financial advisors, what they'll do is they'll go out and they'll build this marketing plan, pour a lot of dollars, get a lot of activity and quit. Pour a lot of dollars, get a lot of activity and quit. And it costs a ton of money. Acquisition costs go through the roof, which is going to harm your 8-figure exit. On the other hand, if you took a methodical approach to reaching your ideal client, then you end up lowering your acquisition costs. Here's a case in point. About 4 years ago, I had this gentleman who reached out through one of our marketing programs, and he was the right persona, just didn't check all the boxes quite yet. Just wasn't comfortable enough to bring him on as a client. And I said, sir, I think we can help you based on what you're telling me. However, I need you to do the following. If you'll go accomplish the following, I'll be more than happy to serve you as an advisor. It took him 3 years to accomplish what he needed to accomplish. He called me back. He said, hey, Justin, remember me? I was like, I sure do. How is it going, man? He goes, man, I've been listening to your podcast. I've been looking at your emails. I've been following you along on social media, and I've accomplished what you asked me to accomplish. Can you help me? I said, absolutely. And now he's a rock star of a client. So maybe, just maybe, you're not nurturing your clients and you're waiting too late to talk to them. That's number 5. Number 6, maybe you're not positioned to connect with your ideal client. Think about this. You say, well, Justin, I want to work with X. Just because you want to work with whomever the demographic is, doesn't mean they want to work with you. If you don't have a common ground, similar hobbies, similarities, personality, beliefs, values, then you may gain them for a short period of time, but they're not going to retain you or your firm's business for a long period of time. I can tell you through the years, friends, I brought in clients just because they could fog a mirror, and I didn't like them. Ended up having to give them to another advisor, or they left because I wasn't positioned to connect with them. So for me, I like doing things like hunting and fishing, and I like gardening, and I like just living outdoors, like boating. I have other friends who love to golf. I'm not a golfer. I have other friends who love like wine and cheese tasting. I have a friend who's all into the arts, opera. I'm sorry, I don't care for opera. I have other friends who are big into football. Now, I like watching my Georgia Bulldogs win, but I'm not going to go to football stadiums and travel all around the country watching the Georgia Bulldogs. But I know many people who do. So you got to have a common ground with your ideal client. And if you don't, you could end up with atrophy within your client base after the sale. See, whenever you go through a transition, you're going to have retention of your clients in order to hit key metrics as part of your exit. And if you don't have that commonality, if they can't trust you as the advisor, you as the business owner, that you're doing what's best for them and their beliefs, then you're going to have problems. Number 7, maybe, just maybe, you don't have an ideal client. Maybe you've never gone through the exercise. Maybe you think you have one, but you've never taken it to the key steps to determine who your ideal clients are. Then, friends, your 8-figure exit is in jeopardy. I'm reminded of a quote. If your content marketing is for everybody, it's for nobody. If your content marketing is for everybody, it's for nobody. Joe Polsey is accredited with that statement. So if you're just trying to get anybody and everybody, you could potentially harm your 8-figure exit. So what do you do? Okay, 7 things that can hurt. So how do we apply it? Here's the application. Know your ideal client. Know them inside and out. Be able to identify them in a grocery store, at a Home Depot, at a Cabela's or a Bass Pro, or wherever you go to shop. Be able to identify your ideal client from across the store. Know their habits. Know how they think. Know what keeps them up at night. Know their personality profile. Get into the nitty-gritty and defining them. Frazzled Frank was a 6-page document of thought on who Frazzled Frank was. Do you have that level of detail understanding who your client is? Base the information. Base your decision on concrete data. Look at your cost of acquisition. Look at your customer value. You've got to combine the qualitative with the quantitative. You have to here. That's how you identify your ideal client. Then you say, Justin, I don't know how to do that. Look, hire a coach. Work with a coach who can help you break these concepts down and drive you to your 8-figure exit. We have a team. We're here to help you. Just reach out to us. Until next time, friends. Hey, y'all go out and make it a great day.